This is Jeremy Squire for Wealth Associates Asset Management, and this is our report to investors. I want to make a comment on the socio-political and economic environment in South Africa. We live in extremely difficult and trying times where the economy seems to be hijacked by political events and politicians seem to be playing their own agenda at the expense of the people of South Africa. South Africa's economy is experiencing a crisis of confidence by local and foreign investors. Mining and manufacturing have been in decline for decades, and seemingly not a week goes by when more retrenchments are being announced, and as a result, unemployment is at all-time highs. This has the danger of creating growing social discontent. Government's job should be to strategize and implement programs designed to drive growth and employment in the economy. Doing so would require politicians with a genuine concern for the welfare of their people, politicians who employ honest, intelligent and capable civil servants dedicated to improving the circumstances for the people they serve. Instead, we seem to be burdened by a political elite intent upon pillaging the coffers of the country and employing their henchmen into state institutions in order to achieve their personal goals. When confronted in the press, they play the victim, but happily South Africa is a paradoxical state in many instances where people such as the EFF hold the government equally to account, as do parties such as the Democratic Alliance, which are characterized as being white-oriented and racist in nature. It seems that our incumbent president has one particular skill, and that is to collect dirt on just about everybody, and he seems to use it in defense of his nefarious game. His control over the National Prosecuting Authority is a great danger to the country, and it seems that he and his henchmen will fight the battle to expose and remove them literally to the death, as not doing so would result in countless arrests and probable long jail sentences. Sadly, the South African investment markets have been negatively impacted by this concerted slide in the moral fibre of the ruling party and its leadership since 2008. South African companies have invested enormous amounts of capital in offshore investments over the past decade, and with the steady slide of the South African rand over time, this has benefited South African investors. But the question is has it really benefited the country? And strategically, the answer has to be no, as unemployment in the country, and in particular in labour-intensive industries, has waned year on year. This, coupled with the demise of the primary and artisanal education systems of the country and a lack of backbone and discipline by the ruling elite to morally guide the labour union compatriots to do what is right for the country, has led us into the sorry state we currently find ourselves in. So what do we need to do now? We need morally centered leadership who will genuinely look after the interests of all of South Africa's people, but in particular the poor and unemployed. We need a socialist capitalist system which works with business to grow the economy, to drive up employment and skill levels and bring in decent minimum wages whilst incentivizing businesses who create employment and disincentivizes those who relentlessly pursue automation. The only way this is likely to happen is if the press keep up their relentless and courageous expose of the greedy elite, so that all South Africans, both poor and wealthy, can realize how poorly we have all been treated and vote in good, ethically centered leaders who will strategically reposition South Africa in the future. Maybe all of this is a pipe dream, and just maybe Jacob Zuma and his supporters are actually victims of a vicious disinformation campaign. You be the judge. Time will show how South Africans collectively assess what they believe the truth is. Let's hope we get it right sooner rather than later, or the consequences could take decades to unwind. This has been Jeremy Squire for Wealth Associates Asset Management. We wish everyone well over the upcoming holiday season and look forward to seeing everyone in a more prosperous South Africa in 2018.